What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Endless, here to bring you week 1 of Draft Jam. So week 1 we are up against Aimel, who's a very tough opponent. He made finals in LTM. He's won numerous leagues. In LTM I played 5 of the 7 other playoff coaches in the regular season. The only one I lost to in the regular season was Aimel, and he smoked me. It was like not close. Our game that I think we played twice. I think the other one was in a Star of Gen 9. I mentioned this term before, not the Exubers, where I had the Broken Maridon team, and I played him in top 4. And I won that one, so I believe this is a tiebreaker for us, actually, between those two games. I mean, one win was a lot more impressive than mine. But regardless, he is a tough opponent, so I'm going to have to bring my A game this week to try and have a shot versus this team. So let's go into the matchup. First up, Terra Blaziken is very scary. I mean, look at my team. I don't have great answers to it. You could say I have like Pecharunt and Domfan, but I really think Special Blaziken makes a lot of sense here. Just like stabs, special stabs are really hard for me to deal with. Especially if it goes like Terra Fire, which I think is not unlikely. It doesn't have to be Terra Fire. The one thing about Terra Fire is it's weak to Aqua Jet, but like if my Urshifu is removed, Terra Fire, like Stab, Fire Blast is really hard for me to deal with. Other types can make sense too, like Ghost. Ghost is also very good into my draft with my Ghost just being fucking Hisui and Zoroark. So we'll see what he does, but it's definitely scary. Latios round 2 sounds kind of insane in a standard draft, but in this format I think it makes a lot of sense. I have okay switches to it with Screamtail and Metagross, but both are weak to Shadow Ball, so it can slot that coverage pretty easily. Let's say Wellspring should not be Terra. Let me fix that. Ogerpon Wellspring. This thing is pretty frustrating. My Water Resists don't love taking Power Whips, but Pecharunt's a pretty solid check. You can't really break through Pecharunt very easily, even at +2. Same with Skarmory, and Skarmory does a ton back with Brave Bird. So I think I have pretty decent counterpoints to the Wellspring. Then we have the Trick Room core of Diancie and Ursaluna. Ursaluna is obviously very scary. I mean, I do have a Skarmory, but Fire Punch hits that really hard. I do have Pecharunt, which can hold an Air Balloon, but this thing can easily pack Crunch. It's quite scary in Trick Room, and I will have to pivot around it very carefully. Diancie on its own is not the biggest threat because of stuff like Urshifu and Metagross, and even Ogerpon Flame, but if it gets like up a Rock Polish, that could be a little scary. Unless I bring like Bullet Punch Metagross, but even so, it's not ideal. Iron Crown, I don't switch into at all. Like, it's like stabs plus Volt Switch are really annoying. Yes, like Metagross can come in on stabs, but it can just Volt out into like Ursaluna and then like or Suicune and start saying it. Hisui and Coolfish is almost definitely coming. It's a really good patch check. It's a really good check to my physical attackers. Even like handles Hisui and Zoroark. I just think there's no reason Hisui and Coolfish won't come. Spikes are also very nice for him here, because my removal Domfan it's okay, but it's not great overall in this matchup with stuff like Latios and Ogerpon Wellspring and even Suicune, which I think if Suicune comes, I expect a Terra Ghost, because if he can start hazard stacking me and prevent my Domfan from spinning, that's really bad. Like, specifically like a Calm Mind Terra Ghost set on Suicune is terrifying, and I'm really worried about it, because I just don't have good answers to it at all. We've got Tornadus. Tornadus is okay here. My Flying Resist obviously aren't great, so I can see like maybe a Spec set coming, but I think he has better things he can be doing. And Rapscale is a Pokemon that technically exists. Revival Blessing's funny. I don't think it really does anything here, but Rapscale is a Pokemon that exists, so that's certainly a thing. On my side, Urshifu Rapid Strike looks quite solid here. If I can wear down the Suicune or get rid of its helmet, Urshifu Rapid Strike is very strong to this team. Heart Flame is also just insane here. Like, unless he goes like Terra Fire or Dragon Suicune, Heart Flame kind of just smokes him. He does not have switch-ins. He is difficulty revenging it as well if he doesn't bring down Tornadus. Talonflame looks really good. His flying resists is Diancie and Iron Crown, and both those get pretty much smacked by coverage and stealing and Flare Burst respectively. And since it's only Rocker is the Diancie, I think bringing a Banded Talonflame is pretty solid, or at least some non-boots item. Then we've got what else? Defensively, Pecharunt's very good. His team has a lot of trouble breaking it, especially if I run the Air Balloon to neuter Ursaluna's ability to easily hit me. Screamtail's quite solid. It's a good Latios check. He can check Blaziken somewhat. Yeah, those are kind of the main mons here, really. Araquanid's like okay here into like Ogerpon and stuff and Blaziken, but I don't love it. Skarm I didn't pick out. I think Skarm was on some initial builds, but I realized it's just way too passive here into stuff like Blaziken and Suicune. Advanced Bennett, I don't think I ever really considered Metagross this build. I considered Donphan for a while to spin. Yeah, but I'm trying to remember, I did end up bringing it, but it's mostly here as like an offensive piece. With that, let's get right into the team. So first up, we have the very obvious Air Balloon Pecharunt. I mean, there's Ursaluna. What do you want me to say? The interesting thing though is I have special defensive because outside the Ursaluna, nothing else really hits me that hard on the physical side. Like even with no defense investment, just max HP in the 4 defense, Ogerpon Wellsprings, Ivy Cudgels just bounce off. Blaziken doesn't hit me that hard either with like Flare Blitz and stuff. Foul Play allows me to smack Ursaluna for like 35-ish%, which is good. And I just need every bit of chip I can, especially on top of the Flame Orb. And then Million Change is just really solid to the rest of the team. Protect allows me to stall Trick Room turns, which is huge, and Recover for obvious reasons. I considered Parting Shot to say over Protect, but I really think Clear Amulet is a likely item on his doing Quillfish here if he wants it to be a Pecharunt counter. Because if Pecharunt is Parting Shot, I Parting Shot into a Clear Amulet Quillfish, it just comes in, I can do nothing to it, gets him a free hazard, and then he can maybe go into like a Terrago Suicune to spin block my Donphan. So I definitely think Queer Amulet is a possibility. It's probably going to be Violet, but Queer Amulet so in Quillfish was not something that I like left out of consideration. Now we have Bandit or Shifu. So he does not switch into this mon. Like he just doesn't. Close Combat is insanely free into this team. And for that reason I am Terra fighting here. So the goal is just to spam Close Combat pretty much. If Suicune Terra's in the type that resists it, that makes it a little harder, but it's still really strong. And then I guess Surgeon Strikes can come up, but versus like Sash was realistically this monster here, quick Close Combat repeatedly and just knock things out. Jet is really nice into Blaziken, into Ursaluna and Trick Room, into like a boosted Iron Crown. And Bandit Jet does do good damage to things, and U-turn just to get my pieces. Now we have a max speed, max HP Screamtail, pretty basic. I wanted to speed side of Torn. Play Rough just for good damage on Latios and a couple other things. Then T-Wave is huge. T-Wave is gigantic just to paralyze everything. Slowing down anything is huge here because it just opens up Urshifu so much to just quick Close Combat more. Wish to keep mons like Donphan healthy. And even Talonflame because as we'll see where it's not boots. So Wish getting it back to full once it takes a rock hit coming in is really nice. And Baton Pass just to like safely get things in. Very simple Screamtail. It does what I need it to do. It's lefties because it's a Screamtail. Nothing crazy. Now we have offensive Custab Donphan. Earthquake Spin, Stealth Rock Knockoff. Earthquake hits this team pretty hard. The only mon that really wants to come out is Ogerpon that doesn't mind taking a knockoff, but absolutely Latios really doesn't like taking a knockoff. Getting rid of Suicune's leftovers is huge. Hitting a Tornadus still takes like 30% from knockoff, and getting rid of its boots or whatever is nice. I almost wanted to take rocks off this set, but I was like, just preventing things from switching around is really nice, so I still had them in there. And Rapid Spin, obviously, to get respects and stuff. It's Custab just because, in case I do get low, it gives me a chance to get off a huge hit on something. I didn't really see an RM that I wanted more than that. And on to Ogerpon. So, very basic, most obvious Ogerpon save of all time. Ivy Cudgel, Power Whip, Swords Dance, Trailblaze. This is my primary win condition. He does not answer it well outside of, like, maybe Latios, if it's really healthy, or, like, a certain Terra Suicune. But generally, this is just really strong. If I get up either a Swords Dance or a Trailblaze, they may have a very good position. Because it's really hard for him to revenge it in general. And if he doesn't have like a Scarfer, it's really hard for him to revenge it too. Yeah. Ogre, again, a lot of my sets are very boring this week. But that's just because they're effective. And I can't, and honestly, in this matchup, I can't afford to really get too creative. Because his team is just so naturally frightening into mine that I have to be very careful in my play. Lastly, I do have a pretty unique set, which we don't see very often. You almost always see Boots on Talonflame, but I am bringing Banda this week, as I alluded to in the matchup portion. He is not a Brave Bird switch-ins, and Brave Bird from Banda just revenges everything. It Oko's Ogerpon, it Oko's Blaziken unless it tears into a type that resists flying. It does like 90% to Latios. It just like allows me to revenge stuff. It does a ton to Ursaluna too. Bandit Brave Bird is just such a nice tool here as Brian Prairie River, such a nice tool here as a safety measure. to allow me to get off a huge hand on something. And also, like, stealing does a ton of dancing, which is the obvious switch in. Flare Blitz hits Crown pretty hard. Even though I'm taking recoil from Viper and Flare Blitz, because I have Wish Baton Pass on my Screamtail, I can easily get my Talonflame back up healthy and enable it to fire off another Brave Bird, especially if I can keep rocks off with Donphan. So I think Talonflame is actually a really good matchup here offensively. But we will see. So, yeah, very basic team. Balloon Patch with Protect in the third slot is kind of unique. Banded Terrifying Urshifu. Boring as hell. Max speed, max HP Screamtail. Offensive Donphan with Custap Berry. Swords Dance, Trailblaze, Ogerpon, and Banded Talonflame. So, yeah, pretty simple team. But with that, let's get right into the battle. And here we are with the battle. Let's set this to 1.5 times speed as always, and let's get right into it. And, yep, let's get real quick. We will start searching. And here we go. Well, warning you guys, this is a little bit of a longer one, so be prepared to stick around a bit. So here we're at preview. As always, we'll pause it at preview. So his Terra types are Terra Ghost on Blaziken and Terra Flying on Suicune. Ghost Blaziken makes a lot of sense. It's very good to me. Obviously, I have like no good Ghost. Just Terra Flying Suicune is interesting. It's definitely annoying because it forces 50-50s with a Ogerpon and Urshifu, and Air Slash is actually kind of spammable into me. I did expect Ghost, but the fact he isn't means that I can spam away the spikes easily with Donphan. In addition, no dancing means no rocks, meaning that Heartflame and the Banded Talonflame both look really good here. Also, pretty much everything else I expected came. No Iron Crown is appreciated. Not a huge deal, but it does make my job a little easier. It means I don't have to worry about proccing a weakness policy or something. So let's set our lead. It's going to be Talonflame, and we'll get right into it. So you can see we are going to lock in Talonflame as the lead here, and he's going to lead off with Latios. So I do lead Talonflame. It does feel like a free U-turn, however, I do real quick calc and see that if he's Scarf, Draco does have a pretty good roll to Okami. So I'm just going to switch to Scout for eventually Scarf, since Scarf Latios is not like a bad set if you're going to lead Latios. So in comes Screamtail, and I'm going to get tricked to Specs, which is aggravating. And the Latios is going to get some leftovers, which we will see come into play later. So now I'm locked into move. I have to be very careful when I click. I do decide just to go for Wish. It's pretty safe since Screamtail's still at full, and whenever I get in will be at full after as well. So the Latios drops an Ursul, which is obviously very scary. It does proc the Flame Orb, showing that it is definitely an offensive set. I do just go into Pecharunt here. It's my switch in. You know, no reason not to. If he does click like Crunch or Fire Punch, fair enough. But, you know, this is my best switch in. I'm going to make it. So out comes Pecharunt, and he is going to be on an Air Balloon. And Aimel will just Facade, bounce, obviously hitting into my Ghost type, doing nothing. Here I do double into Donphan to scout for like a Crunch or something, or expecting him to go into his doing Quillfish. So I'm gonna come in, and he's gonna Fire Punch, so he doesn't move to break their balloon. Does like about 30%, maybe 35% to my Donphan, which isn't ideal, but not the end of the world. I can always just go back out to Pecharunt. If he does Fire Punch again, fair enough. I can protect and foul play or pivot around it. So I am going to go into my Pecharunt here. And he's just got Facade again, so Pecharunt wants to get wall, and he'll take another tick of burn. And every bit of chip helps versus the thing, so I'm very happy to see him taking damage. Yeah, nice protect on this turn, might as well. Again, I mean, if he uses like hard Latios or something, it's bad, but that'll be kind of a crazy play when I can easily like hit him with a foul play. So I'm going to protect here, as he does Fire Punch to break the balloon. So we'll take another tick of burn. I believe that puts him down 75% now, which is really nice. And I am going to foul play. We get up a good like 30%. As he Facades, expecting me to switch out again. So he's probably expecting me to preserve my balloon, so I'm just going to stay in. And now I can just foul play again. And the foul play will take him down very well with a crit, putting him in range of his own Flame Orb. Obviously, that is aggravating for him because he can't bring it back in later, but it would have been range to another foul play, so he would have been forced out after this turn anyway. So, it's not the end of the world, but obviously, like, it is a lucky crit for sure. I don't know how much it will change in the long term, though. Anyway, I go into my Screamtail here, as a Latios is just going to quick Shadow Ball, pretty obvious, but because he no longer has the specs, I'll take this pretty easily. As you see, it does about like a little under 40. So now this turn, I believe it has Thunder Wave because it's very safe if Ursula down. Everything can be paralyzed, so I might as well. Yeah, so I'm just going to get off a power on something. Spread some yellow magic, as we like to say. Silas is going to switch out, and he's going to come to Ogre Pond. So I'm going to Thunder Wave it here, which is really nice, because this means that Urshifu now outspeeds it and can just freely close combat into it. I'm going to go way back out of Patch, yeah. This thing just can't really frame me that much. So I do go back into the Pecharunt. He does get fully paralyzed, which is unfortunate. Obviously means he can't get off an Ivy Cudgel or whatever he wants to click on me. So obviously that's a pretty big. Now I believe I just recover here. This thing can't frame me too much, especially without my air balloon. Knockoff will just bounce off. But he is going to get paralyzed again, which is obviously very unfortunate. It means he still can't get damage on this. So Ogre losing 2 turns is unfortunate for him. I still don't think it changes that much in the long run, but it is, relevant. In comes the Cool Fish. I'm going to pick Malignant Chain, do a little bit. It's like 10-ish, 15%. Which reveals that it is max HP and it violate me a bit of Spadef. So that does show he's not Clear Amulet, which I kind of thought was likely for the Parting Shot. But that's okay. I'm just going to go hard into Donphan here. I mean, it's my best switch into this thing. If he doubles, fair enough. But at least it lets me gain Donphan, eventually get rocks. He is going to make a very good double going into his Suicune. Suicune reveals pressure as expected, so that could come up later for some of my low PP moves. But I'm Donphan. I do kind of realize I just don't have a switch into Suicune anymore. I don't have anyone outside the Pecharunt, which not Pecharunt, the Screamtail, which I need to keep healthy for Latios. So I am just going to sack off Donphan to the surf here. I may could have gone to Pecharunt, but like I was already Calm Mind into Shallow Ball or something. So again, Ghost is very spammable to me. But now that he has done that, I also realize that Terra Flying makes it really hard to safely bring in Urshifu or Ogre Pond here, as he can force those 50-50s. I really don't want to play those games, so I believe I just go into Pecharunt here. Because my Pecharunt is especially defensive. No, never mind. I just go Ogre Pond. I must have figured something later. Anyway, Ogre Pond comes in, and I'm just gonna click Ivy Cudgel because if he doesn't Terra, he can't knock me out. If he does Terra, I do a ton of damage to him. But he is going to switch out this weekend, get back into Quillfish, and I'm just going to Cudgel, do a little bit of damage. Not a ton, but it's every bit of Chip House unless this thing has Pain Split, but I think it's kind of likely he can fit Pain Split here. And I don't have a great, again, I don't have a great pivot into this thing. I could like go Pecharunt because it doesn't take away, but then I just give him 3 hazards, so I have to keep offensive pressure on this. As a result, I am just going to go into my Rapid Striker Shifu. So our Flame is going to switch out. In comes our Shifu. And he is going to quick Barb Barrage, doing a tiny bit of damage. He's going to get the poison. That's 50%. It's, is what it is. And our Shifu will take a bit of chip. Now, I'm just going to click Close Combat. And there's a big misplay. Not the quick Close Combat, but I should have clicked the Terra Fighting button. There was no reason not to. I really did not need like the Terrifying Wave because I'm not taking a great hit from Blaziken, or I'm not really taking much for anything anyway. So losing my water and fire resistances aren't that big a deal, especially because I outspeed the Ogre Pond and the Suicune anyway and do a ton of damage with close combat. So not clicking Terra Fighting here was definitely a mistake. As we'll see, I'll wait until he makes his move, but he's definitely moving on his turn. I'm just gonna close combat. As we see, it loses about 20%, meaning that if I Terra'd, I would have just picked up the knockout with close combat. But instead, this means he gets off a spike, and I'm going to take an extra hit of poison on next turn when I have to close combat again. So there's just a ton of extra damage for Urshifu that I didn't need to let happen, and the spike is potentially big in the late game for him sweeping me of something. So I very much should have just Terra Fighting on that first turn and knocked it out straight up. And we'll see if that comes into play later, but that's definitely one of my biggest misplays this game, looking back on it. And now he knows I'm Choice Banded. He does bring in Blaziken, which obviously is going to Terra Ghost here, not much I can do about it. I believe I just go hard Pecharunt. He is even like +2. If he's special, it's a problem, but if he's special, it's not a problem. Like, I don't know much I can do about it. But if he's a physical and he tries to set SD, I can foul play it. He's gonna go Terra Ghost. If he clicks Terra Blast or Flare Blitz, it shouldn't 2-hit KO me. Maybe he's like Bandit or Life Orb, it might. But again, if he's like Life Orb, I can probably play around it. So I'm just gonna go out to my Pecharunt here. Yep, so Pech comes in. And he's gonna Terra. Obviously, he can't risk me just staying in close combating it if he doesn't Terra. So he has to do a Terra on Blaziken, which also means that Suicune and Leer can't Terra into flying, making Urshifu, especially with Heart Flame, a lot safer to click into it. He does go for Swords Dance. So I do not live any hit unless it's like me +2 Life Orb and Terra Blast. If he does get that, it's kind of problematic, but I can go Talonflame and knock out with Brave Bird anyway, because I am Bandit. I mean, he doesn't know that yet. I'm just gonna foul play here. I can't play around with this. I have to, like, claim my kill if possible. He's gonna think really hard, probably right tough calc to see if he can OHKO maybe. Because he does know, like, I'm max XP not much like Fizz Def based on the damage from Ursula. He's gonna switch out though into Latios on my foul play, which makes a lot of sense. It's a pretty safe play. I do about 45, but he's gonna start getting some lefties back from the lefties he tricked away from my Screamtail, which is a bit frustrating. Now I am gonna go into Screamtail here. It's pretty obvious he's gonna Shallow Ball, but like on the next turn I can either play rough to force him out, or I can like T-Wave. I wish just generally it's fine to pivot the Screamtail because I always get off a move after. So he is going to just click Shallow Ball, and even with the Spike, it's not going to KO me. So I'm going to live out a little bit. I am in Spike's range now, but that's fine. I still get off a move. Although, yeah. So this is one of the things where I kind of wish I didn't. Not wish, but I should not have get the Spike, because obviously now Screamtail, next time it comes in, it has to be a sack. But I am just going to play rough. I don't want to play around Latios, I just need damage on it. If something comes in, I'll take a bit of chip, it's fine. Obviously, if Suicune comes in, it's one really bad thing, but if he does, I have like answers still. There's gonna think if he like wants to take a hit from me or risk the power or just knock me out. He doesn't want to risk it, so he's just gonna go out to Ogerpon here. And I'm gonna play rough. It's gonna do virtually nothing, revealing he's very bulky. He's at least max HP, for sure. And play rough just does like virtually nothing there. Now I am just going to go out to my Pecharunt. It's pretty safe, like as I've elaborated before. Wellspring just can't really touch Pech at all. So we go out to Pecharunt here. He's gonna switch out his Ogerpon. Very good double again, but he goes into Suicune this time. But I'm fine with this because I'm especially defensive. Even if he starts like Calm Minding, I can Toxic him and wear him down, and eventually like stall him out. So I believe I just recovered first because I take a hit pretty well. He's gonna Surf, it's gonna like do like barely anything to like 20% at most. And I'm gonna recover all the damage off. This shows to him that I am specially defensive. He now knows that. And I'm just gonna Malignant Chain. I want damage. I want to potentially poison this thing. He has to get Calm Mind. So it is definitely scary. Obviously, it's difficult to deal with. So I'm gonna Malignant Chain. Albeit, well, also I'm gonna get the Toxic and obviously the confusion that goes with it. So it's pretty nice. Even if I didn't get that though, once he goes down, I can always revenge with Ogerpon because he's terrored his Blaziken already. So it's not the end of the world if he does end up 1v1 on my Pecharunt. He's gonna take a hit of Confusion though, it's really nice, and I'll be in there Toxic and some more Malignant Chain damage. The one thing is that I am getting more Malignant Chains because he only has 8 PP and he has Pressure. I'm down to just 2 more clicks on the Suicune, which is not great. Especially if I want to preserve it for Ogerpon for later. He will reveal the Citrus Berry, showing that he's almost definitely not a Rest, which is really big because that's the one thing I was worried about. He's going to go out to Latios here as I protect. Good double on his end. So he's going to force me to sack up the Screamtail here, as he just cooks the, obviously the freest Shallow Ball of all time. So Screamtail goes down to Suicune Coefficient Spike. And Latios just cooks Shallow Ball. So here, it gets a little bit more health back, because I have about 80% now. And I am going to just drop in my Talonflame. It is actually a hard turn, because I could Brave Bird and guarantee knock it out, but then I lose my Gale Wings for later for the Blaziken, so I'm just going to U-turn. If he's no bulk because he wants to tie Heartflame, this is a roll. I believe it was in my favor, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to U-turn here. So I do just U-turn and I take it very, very low. And I do drop in my Heartflame. I don't really have anything else I can bring in here. It should live any one hit, but then I have to speed tie after, which is obviously very risky. There's not much I can do. I should have just Brave Bird and gotten rid of my Gale Wings, because I still have Pecharunt for Blaziken, but it's a bit risky. So in comes Ogerpon, takes a ton of damage. And since I'm going to go down to spikes anyway, I just have to stay in. I'm literally like 2 HP below surviving spikes. And I'm just going to Trailblaze. I might as well go for it, because it should knock out the Laios from this range if he's no bulk. And based on the U-turn damage, he was no bulk. So when you have the Trailblaze, I do win the speed tie, which is obviously very big. I mean, I could have just brought in Talonflame after and quick U-turn, but still, it means my Heartflame's still alive and can get off damage on something. In comes the Ogerpon. So I am just going to Ivy Cudgel here. I considered Power Whipping, but it didn't knock out max HP anyway. I'd rather not risk the miss and getting no damage off. So I am just going to Ivy Cudgel. So do a ton of damage, like 50%, which does show he's Fizz Death, though he's very, very foul in this weapon. So we're going to trade Cudgels, and his will, in fact, knock me out. So our Heartflame's going to go down. And I have a couple options. I can go Pecharunt, I can go Talonflame. I believe I go Talonflame because he is in U-turn range. So he either has to let me kill this or go basically into Suicune. Yeah, I guess he could like go into Blaziken, but if I just Brave Bird, they just loses the game on the spot. So I doubt he'll make that play. Talonflame just being a U-turn bot, draft league player, quick U-turn. But it's really appreciating the lack of rocks brought from Aimel's side. So I am just going to U-turn as the Suicune comes in, do a bit more chip. And of course he'll take more Toxic after as well. And Petch will come in. No reason to go into Urshifu. If I go close combat, he goes Blaziken. I'm in really bad shape. No, Petch it takes more Toxic, so he's below 50 now, which is really nice. And I'm just going to Malignant Chain, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm just going to Malignant Chain here, get off my damage. He's going to Surf, do nothing as before, and Malignant Chain do some more chip into this thing. He's very low now, he obviously dies to Toxic, so I'm just going to recover. He makes a very smart player and goes into Ogerpon, realizing that I have no reason not to recover when he dies to Toxic this turn. So I'm going to get it off here. And he is just going to double back into Suicune, which is very smart because that means I lose my last Malignant Chain, which is obviously my primary way of knocking out the Ogerpon with Pecharunt. So I am just going to click the chain, which maybe was not a great play, but I mean I was down to 1 anyway. So I'm just going to knock out the Suicune with my last Malignant Chain. Pressure doing his job this game. And sure, I can only click it like 4 times, I think. Or 5? Yeah, 5. So. And the Ogerpon's going to come back in. So now I can't really do much damage to it, which is obviously not ideal. I'm just going to Foul Play, get off a little bit of chip, do like about 15%. He is going to fire up a Leech Seed, which I was not really expecting, but in hindsight with the Fizz Death set makes a lot of sense. And I am just going to go hard out into, I believe, Urshifu here. If he hits me again, I can bring Talonflame after and force this thing out. Actually, I first click Brave Bird, I think I just win. So I just go out to Urshifu here. And he does cook Leech Seed, which is not ideal because it means I'm taking like 37% this turn between Spike, Leech Seed, and Poison. But because Urshifu also has U-turn, I could either force this thing out or do a ton of damage to it. If not, just knock it out. So Draft League player could U-turn again. Even though Urshifu's in Spike's range, which is not ideal because it's being a sack for his Blaziken isn't great because he'll just get a speed boost. I just need to take my knockout here and click U-turn. If he goes hard Blaziken as I U-turn, then I just go into my Talonflame. I just take down the Ogerpon with my U-turn here. And we will drop in my Pecharunt. I really wanted to go Talonflame and just kill the Blaziken of it because I love Talonflame, but I calced and Brave Bird is a roll into no bulk. It's heavily in my favor, but if I lose that roll and he Swords Dances, I do just lose the game on the spot. And I really do not want to risk that. I guess I could have U-turned into Brave Bird, would have probably done enough. But either way, I just go Pecharunt because I know I take a hit. And I foul play. I take a hit from +0 guaranteed. If he ever SDs, I just kill him. So this should guarantee win me the game. In Metro's foul play, he is going to go for the Hail Mary Swords Dance. He has no reason not to. Like, it's his only play. It's his only potential out. However, I am just going to foul play and knock him out with this hit. Obviously, you're doing like 200% because he's at +2. And Blaziken will go down, getting us the 3-0 victory for week 1. Pecharunt with 3 kills in this game, showing why it deserved to go round 1 on my team. I'm pretty happy with how I played this. The only big misplay was not tearing the Urshifu when I had the opportunity versus Qwilfish. Obviously, that was bad because it put a spike, made Urshifu take extra damage, which I think it would actually be out of the spike range if I had... Well, actually, there wouldn't even be a spike up, so yeah. Scripto was still be alive, a lot of things would have been healthier, so that was a big misplay. Other than that, I think I played relatively well. Definitely got a bit lucky with, you know, like the confusion, the full powers, the crit early on. I don't think any of those individually changed the game. I think together they might have helped a lot, but I think my prep was still pretty good into this game, and I'm pretty confident it would have still been pretty in my favor, even if it wasn't guaranteed, obviously. If I didn't get the hacks, it would have been more of a game, but I think generally I had a pretty good foothold in this one. So that will finish week 1 for us versus Aimel, starting off 1-0 +3. First time in my 4 upload weeks that I'm starting positive, which is awesome. In week 2, we are going up against Mr. TJP, a friend of mine from the League of Extraordinary Trainers, an awesome non-upload Wi-Fi league we're both a part of, run by my good friend Eco the Living Planet. So it'll be an LET battle next week, which I'm really excited for. That matchup is looking horrid, so we'll see if I can pull out a win versus TJP. That's it. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, or night, everyone. It's been great having you watch. Peace.